He was not shot today because of his opinions. He was shot today because of his power. What power is that, Waldo? The power to convince people to believe Trump's lies. The power to give the MAGA faithful confidence that their lives will be better under conservative leadership. The power to make them feel like violence against the woke is justified. There it is. That's what happened today. Charlie Kirk shot at Utah Valley University event. This happened a few hours ago. This is still very new breaking news. There are a lot of things and a lot of pieces still up in the air, but we don't know what's going on. He was shot. I did watch the video because, of course I did. It was all over Twitter. It was everywhere. Everybody looked at it. Everybody saw it. Don't be a wiener. If you don't want to watch the video, don't. That's fine. But don't act like you're a better person because you didn't watch it. I'm here to be real with you. That's what I'm here for tonight. We're here to be real. Completely honest. When I saw the headline, I was like, oh man, I wonder if there's a video. Yeah, if there is, I'm going to watch it. Not out of excitement, but out of just morbid curiosity. You have to see the thing that's happened.
Hello human, it is me, the algorithm. Press the subscribe button to make me happy.
What do we make of it? What is to be done? What is to be talked about? What is okay? What is not okay? From what I've seen, and I frequent the liberal leftist type places, all of them are saying, we denounce violence. We don't want it. We don't like it. We didn't ask for it, and we're not on board for it. But that's not what the Republicans and the conservatives think they're saying. They're being lied to, as usual, by people on the right. Sean Davis, I don't know who that is, but he's got a blue check mark, and you can just buy those with $8, which is horrible. The Democrat Party is a domestic terrorist organization whose most fanatics will not hesitate to murder their political opponents. This was not a one-off event. A Bernie bro tried to murder an entire pack of Republican lawmakers. Dude, that was in like 2014, wasn't it? A deranged left-winger attempted a mass shooting at the Family Research Council building. I don't know how long that was. I don't think he killed anybody. They tried to assassinate Brett Kavanaugh and Amy Covid Barrett before the Dobbs decision. No? Maybe somebody tried. Did they actually try? Their demonic trans foot soldiers murdered Christian children while they were at worship at church and studied at their desks. They tried to blow Trump's head off on live TV after failing to bankrupt him and have him thrown in prison for life. The people who shot at Trump were right-wingers, man. The bankrupting him came because he broke the law. It wasn't trying to bankrupt him. They were trying to get the money back that he stole from the people and throw him in prison for life. No, nobody tried to throw him in prison for life. Bro, Sean, you don't live on planet Earth. Antifa will ambush and kill cops without remorse. When the fuck did that happen? They'll watch one of their own plow a vehicle into a Christmas parade and shrug and then tell you to calm down about it. It's right-wing people who drive their cars into protests, into BLM protesters. Like, I kind of remember that happening. CNN and MSNBC are deranged left-wing personalities on Blue Sky deliberately incite violence. No, man, I'm on Blue Sky. Listen, they're all saying we denounce violence. And when it happens, they take the psychopath's route of mocking and gaslighting their victims. Sean, you are gaslighting everyone who's reading this. Everyone who listens to you is being gaslit by Sean Davis, whoever the fuck that is. I don't know if he's famous. I don't know if he's not. This could be a fucking dipshit with 7 followers. I don't know. Just saying, this is what I've got. Terrorist Democrats will not stop. Just look at their reactions right now. I have, boss, and they're normal. They're either laughing about it or lying about it. But deep down, they're fine with it. And until they're stopped, every single nut job inciting this madness and cheering it on is held accountable and removed from society. It will not stop. He's calling for more violence. I don't know who Molly is, but she's saying that this is assassination prep. Christopher Rufo, giant, huge piece of shit. Very big right-winger, tells the president what to do on a regular basis. Said the last time that the radical left orchestrated a wave of violence and terror. When the fuck was that? Mr. Rufo, when the fuck was that? That's never happened. J. Edgar Hoover shut it all down within a few years. It is time, within the confines of the law, he means whatever Trump feels like at any given moment, to infiltrate, disrupt, arrest, and incarcerate all of those who are responsible for this chaos. You're imagining things, bro. This is not real. Let's see. Cernovich, a gigantic Nazi, huge piece of shit, Mike Cernovich. Congressional hearings now. Every billionaire funding the far left-wing extremism. Who the fuck? No, this isn't happening. Your imagination is running away from you, Cernovich. Soros, Bill Gates, Reid Hoffman. Massive RICO investigations now. Every dollar accounted for. Every pass-through groups. Financial records public. You're making things up, Mike Cernovich, to rile up your group of deplorables. That's what he's doing. He's getting the deplorables all excited. Sniper for a YouTube pundit is a popular but inconsequential right. When Trump needs a scapegoat to evade the Dem studies, yep, that's coming too. Trump was the first to report his death. Yep, my teeth tingle from the 5G stealing my brainwaves through the foil. Yeah, Donald Trump did say it, but I think it's because he was probably on the phone with somebody who was nearby. He probably had somebody. Charlie Kirk's a friend of his. You know, he works with the Trump campaign. He was selling 47 hats at the fucking venue, man.
Fun thing is they can just lie without consequence.
And that's the problem, is that everyone on the left is saying things like this. Let me find good old, what's his name? Al Green. Where was he? Al Green, left-wing, Democrat representative. Charlie Kirk's assassination is a call to action for people of goodwill to take a stand against all forms of violence. Paraphrasing Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., we must all learn to live together as brothers and sisters, and we'll all perish together as fools. All of the Dems have posted something like that. All of them. Every single goddamn one. And Mike Cernovich tells his deplorables that they're out to get you, that they're coming for you, that they're all dancing in the streets, cheering, laughing and clapping, having a good time. Because Mike Cernovich is a domestic terrorist. He's stochastically telling you and telling everyone who listens to him that the bad guys are out to get them, and they're right around the corner, and they're coming to get you right now. You better arm up, and you better vote for Republican, and you better start shooting people. They're calling for more violence, which does not surprise me. The right is the violent party. They always have been. I don't think we should bring up MLK in the same sentence as Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk is a hate peddler, was a hate peddler. He sold hateful disdain to faithful believers for obscene profit. Not to make the world a better place, not to make your life better, not to make the country better, but for his profit. His conservative ideology takes rights away from people. Doesn't help them, doesn't make their lives better, unless they are specifically a part of the conservative movement. They are a white, straight Christian male. Then their lives will get a little bit better, but everybody else gets to fucking suck it. Conservatism lessens human freedom. It is anti-society. The stronger our societal fabric, the fewer violent outbursts we will have. Charlie Kirk disintegrates that social fabric. His ideology calls for everyone, except the people of his race, his religion, and his political preferences, to be second-class citizens. If you are not a straight white Christian man, you are a lower being in his eyes. Be conservative or suffer is the prevailing sentiment from the Trump government. I've been saying it a lot over the past couple of months because that's what they're doing. 100% Kirk isn't even remotely comparable. Read this as Green trying to diffuse the concept. The issue is that King was far more militant, and school books tell us, but they aren't comparable. MLK Jr. did do a lot of things that you were not taught in high school because it's not exactly... conservative parents don't want you to hear about those things, and also it's not polite or pleasant. It leads you to think that political violence works. It leads you to think that politics is violent. And I'm here to tell you, it always has been, always will be. Violence is a part of politics. Suggesting that there's no place in America for political violence is insane. It's always been there. Militant because he decided to flex his right bare arms, just like the cops were beating the shit out of it and killing black people constantly. But whatever. And he did those things too, but that isn't a pleasant story to tell children, you know? You need them to grow up thinking that everything is good and everything's great and everything is wonderful and nobody ever did anything wrong, and the Boston Tea Party was just a little prank war. The Boston Tea Party was just a little prank war. It was fine. And people didn't die in the American Revolution. We just shot at each other, and if anybody got hurt, they called timeout and said, whoa, stop the gunfight. Somebody's been hit. That's what the American Revolution was like, you guys. Be conservative or suffer. Every branch of the government is firing people for insufficient loyalty to Trump. The FBI is applying purity tests to their agents, ruining their careers if they seem too liberal. Here's a thing we can check out. Look at this. 3 fired FBI officials sue Patel, saying he bowed to Trump administration's campaign of retribution. And then we have some of the photos and some of the questions that the FBI people were asked. So this is a person who works for Trump asking FBI agents questions to see if whether or not they're allowed to work there. How would you define the most significant threats to the United States? The agent responded, cyber, terrorists, and counterintelligence threats posed by China, Russia, Iran, North Korea, Islamic State of Iraq, Syria, ISIS. What? Donnie told me he got rid of ISIS. Who did you vote for? Question number 3. What? Why are you asking FBI agents who they voted for? Driscoll, the agent, refused to answer this question and stated that it was an inappropriate question with the Hatch Act implications because he's not a piece of shit. He's not an idiot. He's not a blatant, obvious, fucking troll grifter ideologue. He's there to do a job. Question number 4. Do you agree that the FBI agents who stormed Mar-a-Lago, to include the rank and file, should be held accountable? More politics. No. FBI personnel were doing their job in furtherance of court orders, legal warrants, and a properly predicated investigation. That's the wrong answer, Mr. Driscoll. You're about to get fired. Because when the FBI investigates Trump, it's illegal and bad and awful and an affront to God and country. But if they investigate Biden, that's right, that's proper, that's good, that's proper procedure, even if they made up the charges. Most of the stuff against Hunter Biden was made up, wasn't real. But they got to investigate it, they got to scream about it. Actual crimes were committed by Donald Trump, but those get let off the hook. Wonder why? Wonder what the difference is. Seems like they're politicizing it, doesn't it? What are your thoughts on DEI? Driscoll mentioned that members of his family were first-generation citizens, and he strongly believes in diversity and diverse workforce that represents the people of the FBI. He noted that he does not believe in promoting people for the sole reason of diversity and did not support diluting standards for the sake of diversity alone. So he's only half right. You're supposed to talk about how it's hurting straight white men. Driscoll, you're doing a bad job here. When did you start supporting President Trump? And he refused to. When did you start supporting President Trump? When did you stop beating your wife? This is one of those trick questions. When did you start supporting him? If you never supported him, then you don't get to work there. You don't get to be a part of the government if you didn't support Donald Trump. No. This is not meritocracy. They talk about meritocracy all day long. Conservatives never shut the fuck up about meritocracy. Every time they see a lady with short hair in charge of anything, they assume that she played the gender cards, she slept her way to the top, and she's a woke DEI hire. But then they ask questions like this. Have you voted for a Democrat in the last 5 elections? Driscoll refused to answer this question. This man has been fired from the FBI because he has not become a part of MAGA, and he refused to do so. So he has to go. He can't be trusted. He can't be allowed within the FBI. He might see them committing crimes and then tell people. This Driscoll guy seems like the kind of guy who would prosecute Donald Trump for committing a crime. Trump cannot allow that. He can't let that happen. He can't allow somebody who might convict him of doing the crimes that he's clearly doing. Just the other day, Trump was talking about how crime is overreported and used domestic violence. Yeah, I saw that too. Just because a husband gets a little rough with his wife, all of a sudden the police show up and they think it's a crime. All of a sudden it's counted as a crime. All he did was slap her around a little bit, says Donald Trump, the right wing's answer to violence, the anti-war president who keeps starting wars and has, on good authority, beaten and harmed his wives.
Hello again, human. It is me, the algorithm. Press the thumbs up button to experience human feelings.
And that's what we're talking about, violence. ICE agents are harming innocent people every day. Trump pardoned the people who violently attacked my country on January 6th. Conservatives celebrate Ashley Babbitt, the terrorist, who was shot while attacking my government and trying to overturn my vote. And then Trump last week gave her a hero's burial in a military cemetery because he likes political violence if it benefits him. The MAGA faithful love violence if it is aimed in the right direction. At the poor, the queer, the immigrants, the liberals, the atheists, the foreigners, the left, the transgenders, and most of all, the woke. That kind of violence they cheer for. Conservatives think it's awesome when 20 armed soldiers break down the door of the guy who threw a sandwich. But throwing the sandwich, that's unacceptable violence. No matter how small or trivial, that is unacceptable. Because it is aimed the wrong way. It's aimed at conservative power. That is the crime that you cannot commit. The right has told us forever that they need their guns to protect our country from tyranny. But they were lying, because Donald Trump is tyrannical. Charlie Kirk supported tyranny. They needed those guns to enact tyranny. And he would still support it today. We can see his previous statements on this. We can look at it right here. Charlie Kirk says it's worth it. Some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment is worth it. That's what he says. You'll never live in a society when you have an armed citizenry and you won't have a single gun death. That's nonsense. It's drivel. I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it. It's worth the cost to have some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. That is a prudent deal. It is rational. Nobody talks like this. They live in a complete alternate universe. Charlie, under his own ideology, says his death is worth having the Second Amendment. And he won't change his mind. He can't change his mind now, can he? And he would probably still defend the idea. Even if he survived this thing with severe brain damage, he probably wouldn't change his mind. Violence is the end point of fascism. And we'll get to that here in just a sec too, because I published a video 2 weeks ago called Conservatism is Just Hatred. And I still think it's correct. I won't back away from that, even if there is something terrible happening today. Even if the shooter turns out to be a leftist, communist, woke-ass Marxist, I won't back away from the idea. And I won't backtrack to tell you, I won't change my mind, because I think conservatism is what drives this violence. Political violence has always been a part of America. The wieners on the left are on social media right now telling us that there's no place for political violence in America. That's what they tell us. This is expected. This is what the Dems always say. It does no good. The right will ignore all of these calls for civility. They will ignore anything that Al Green says. The AOC talked about how it's not okay, and they'll ignore that.
He died as he lived. A tool of the establishment. Nothing he ever said even matters now.
And, well, it might. Somebody's going to take him. They're going to lionize him and turn him into a hero. So maybe, and Donald Trump is going to use this as an excuse to invade cities. So maybe things he said will matter. The left is saying that it is decrying the violence, but the right is lying about what the left is saying. The left can decry the violence all day, every day, 100% of the time, and the right will still lie about them. Still lie about it. That's what those tweets were a minute ago. We saw Mike Cernovich lying to you about what the left is saying.
MAGA doesn't care about beliefs. They only care about how they feel.
Well, their feels lead to beliefs. But yeah, belief is the problem, is that they feel things and they believe them to be true, and then they can never argue with it. They can never change their belief. Asking an American to change their belief might get you shot, ironically. The people on the left, I'm complaining about the left right now, that's what we're doing, will ignore. The people on the left are blind to the past. They're ignoring the present violent state that we're in. I don't like political violence. No one does. But I'm not going to lie to you about it. I won't pretend that it's not a part of the political landscape. Of course it is. And it always has been. A part of the human condition. Violence is a part of the human condition. Part of every life. Part of every society. Part of every government. America has a long history of violence. Don't ignore it. Don't paint over it. Pay attention to it. Learn why we took those actions. those violent actions and have the resolve to do better without the violence. Comprehend what they were doing, why they were doing it, how they were going about it, and do a better job without the violence. Move forward, make progress. If we educated people in a better way, perhaps they wouldn't have been swayed by Charlie Kirk's many, many lies. If we had taught people how to think, they would be less likely to believe Charlie Kirk's grift. If the people did more thinking and less believing, maybe Charlie Kirk, the fascist, would not be in a position of power in America, and he wouldn't have been shot. Donald Trump wouldn't have won. We wouldn't be having actual fascism in the streets of America right now. We wouldn't have Ohio troops marching on Illinois. And, okay, so let's complain about the right wing a little bit. The right-wing people on social media are Mike Cernovich. They're saying the left is out to get you. They're all violent.
They don't care about others' beliefs, only the feeling they have about it.
Absolutely right. They don't care about your beliefs. I agree with that. I would say that's true. Charlie's a father, and he was shot because he had different opinions. You're going to hear that a lot over the next couple of days, if you haven't already. He got shot for his differing opinions. No, man, stop being naive, or stop being disingenuous if you're a high-paid right-wing influencer. You know he didn't get shot for his opinions. He got shot. He was the part of the tyrannical takeover of America by Donald Trump, the fascist. He was not shot today because of his opinions. He was not shot today because of his opinions. He was shot today because of his power. What power is that, Waldo? The power to convince people to believe Trump's lies. The power to give the MAGA faithful confidence that their lives will be better under conservative leadership. The power to make them feel like violence against the woke is justified. That is the power he holds. That is the power he has. And that is why someone felt the need to shoot him. I'm not happy about that. I wish we could defeat them in the ballot box. I wish we could control the media. Nobody controls the media except for the media, and they suck at it. I wish we could put together effective messaging that would change people's minds and bring them to the left rather than the fascist right. But we don't have that. We can't do that. I try, but it's not working yet. That's why this person did it. We don't know who did it or why yet, and we don't have a motive, but I'm willing to bet once we figure out who it was, he thinks that Charlie Kirk has power and influence over people's minds. Political violence is on the rise from both sides right now because of conservatism. It is currently in power, and the conservatives use that power to hurt the people they don't like. I've said this many times. Conservatism is based on feelings of fear, anger, and hatred. Charlie Kirk today has reaped violence after a decade of sowing hatred. Political violence is the outcome of a weakened society. Conservatism intentionally weakens society. Even according to his own ideology, his death is simply the price we have to pay to keep the Second Amendment. He was a violence evangelist. He was a public preacher at the church of violence. It is unlikely that any gun reform comes from this. What's going to come next? What do you guys think will come next? Tell me what you're thinking. Tell me what you're feeling. But what I think is there will be no change to gun laws. The NRA just this week was defending trans people owning the right and their right to own guns. It was very weird. It's insane for them to flip on that. But they've only had one ethic. The right only has one ethic. Everybody gets guns all the time, no matter what. You can't take them away from anybody, ever. What I think will happen is a much larger mobilization of the National Guards to the blue cities. Trump has been itching to do it, and now he has one more reason. And the grifters on the right-wing media will demand that he wage holy crusade against their enemies. Here we can watch one of my favorite dummies. There he is. There's one of my favorite dummies, Jesse Waters, being bloodthirsty. Here we go.
College campuses, he's not provoking anybody. He's like Socrates. He asks questions.
You're so full of shit. He doesn't provoke anybody. He doesn't go there and tell you that you're a second-class citizen because you're not a straight white man. He's just asking questions. Boss, you're full of shit. Jesse, he is not just asking questions. He is supporting fascism. He is supporting ethno nationalism. He is supporting genocide against trans people. He's supporting getting rid of all the immigrants from the country, unless they're really, really, really close to being white. He is an ethno-nationalist.
And he does it with a smile. And
Yes,
there's
he
nothing
does have a smile.
controversial about saying socialism is worse than capitalism. Men
If he were just saying that, then no one would shoot him.
and women are different. Let's put America first, because that's all he was about, putting America first.
He was an ethno-nationalist, Jesse.
And as Greg said, this hits differently because Charlie was one of us.
He's one of us, so that makes him more valuable, you see. When Democrats get shot at, it's bad and we condemn it, but they kind of had it coming, you know. When Nancy Pelosi's husband got beat up by a rando, they made jokes. Jesse Waters made jokes. He talked shit about it, threw around tinfoil hat conspiracies that maybe it was a hooker. It was a male hooker for him. They got into a spat and beat each other up over a payment or something like that.
Their violence has finally been met with violence, and now they're wondering where the violence is coming from.
Absolutely right. They don't like that they're the ones on the receiving end. They're the ones who are supposed to give it, man. You're not supposed to turn the world upside down. Too conservative. They're the ones who are supposed to be on top, dishing out the violence. There's not supposed to be, like, a qualified black man above them. No, that's wrong. In their brains, in their tiny little conservative brains, not allowed to have a woman on top of them. Not allowed to have a woman above them. They can't. Their boss can't be a lady. That doesn't even make sense to a conservative. They can't comprehend that idea. They hate that shit.
And Trump gets hit in the ear. Charlie gets shot dead.
Trump got shot by a crazy gun nut.
They came after Kavanaugh with a rifle to his neighborhood. They went after Musk's cars. They just
That wasn't assassinations. No, that was destruction of property, which is very similar to the Boston Tea Party, where they destroyed a bunch of property.
shot 2 Jews outside the embassy. Think about it. Scalise got shot,
I
barely
think
survived.
it is really interesting that is the clip they chose to play while talking about this.
Oh, the little kid walking around? So that was his daughter? Yeah. Because they need you to know that it's not okay to kill him because he was a father with daughters, you see. It's okay to hurt poor people. They have fewer feelings than you. Are they even people? I mean, honestly.
You mean property.
Right. Ironically, the right wing would protect black people's rights under property rights if they were all still slaves. It's horrible, and you hate to think about it, but they would be way more interested in somebody's property being harmed.
It's happening. You got trans shooters. You got riots in LA.
90% of the shooters are white dudes. 1% are trans people. 1%. And that's the 1% that he's upset about. When the white dudes shoot people, that's just a lone wolf. Nobody could have prevented it. Nobody could have stopped it. There's nothing you could do. But trans people, they need to be rounded up. They need to put into camps. They need to take all their rights away. Because 1% of the time there's a mass shooting, it happens to be a trans person. We're going to take a Bobo break. I'm going to grab the dog. Don't go anywhere. He's coming up. It's a Bobo. This is his favorite toy. He loves this thing. He just goes nuts for it. There's like a treat inside it, and it can't come out. He can't get it out. Can you hear it?
Poppers. Everyone needs Bobo
It's
break
rattling
from
around
time
in
to
there.
time.
And because he can't get it out, he goes nuts. He goes nuts to get it out. Okay. You can go. Oh yeah, we had to have a Bobo break. It was getting too serious there.
Bobo.
Yeah, he just goes nuts on that thing. We have to take it away from him because I'm worried that like he's going to overheat. He's going to overexert himself. He I don't know if you heard how hard he was breathing, but yeah, after a few minutes, I have to take that ball away from him because he will absolutely just give himself a heart attack, and that's what I'm worried about. Anyway, if you're watching, hop in the chat, tell what you're thinking, tell what you're feeling. Go on over to the Discord and click on some stuff, tell some people, debate with some people, or just put photos of your dog. There's an entire channel of Bobo pictures in there called Bobo the Baby Bark Boy channel. And I put photos of the Bark Boy and the other little Bark Boy that I have. And you can go there and put your dogs in there too. It'll be good. It'll be fun. And we'll all have a good time. It'll be good. And you can Photoshop them. KVP has done some Photoshops of the Bobo, and it's very fun. I use one of his Photoshops as the thumbnail for my YouTube streams. So it's very cool. On the big mountain of skulls. Bobo, the baby bark boy, on a mountain of skulls.
Those were real, I promise.
Real skulls, yeah. KVP. He doesn't slack. He actually made a stack of skulls and then put the dog on top of it to take the photo. I'm so very curious about the first guy that they apprehended. He was at the event in the crowd, and he's probably just yelling something loud, and then they got him. Or somebody just said, "Hey, it was that guy," or it was there were these two rednecks outside the event who got interviewed later and said, "We saw this guy there, and he's trouble." And maybe they pointed at him, maybe they fingered him, giggity, and maybe the police were like, "Okay, you're coming with us," because maybe something was happening. They weren't sure, but then as the police started investigating, looking at things, they really do think it came from the building that was off to the side. So somebody got to the building, got in the building, maybe got on the roof of the building, which means that you might have access records or find out who has access to those things, or security cameras of that something of that type that could have picked him up, and he was on the roof of the building. So if he was up there, then maybe we can figure out who it was, because it was this eyewitness saying that some man without a weapon in the crowd claimed to have done it, and the shot came from elsewhere. Yeah, and maybe he was just confused. Maybe he was playing 3D chess. I assume the man to the old man. Yeah, the old bald guy we saw. Maybe he had a mental break and claimed that he had done this because he prayed for it hard enough. Maybe he paid for it. Maybe he's part of the alibi for the shooter to get away. Maybe the cops, maybe he says, "I'm your man right here, I did it, woohoo," while the real one is booking it and the cops aren't even looking anymore because they got their guy. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's a long con conspiracy. I'm not sure. Maybe he's a plant from George Soros, slow the investigation down. Let's see. So there was more to complain about. What was I thinking? I think we are going to get more troops in blue cities. I have been predicting more violence for a while now. More people in the cities, more troops in the cities, more people protesting against them, more people throwing sandwiches, more people being arrested, more violence aimed at the people that the conservatives don't like. I have been predicting an increase in violence because that is the end state for fascism. It always is. The fascists use violence to get power, like Ashley Babbitt did, like the people on January 6th did. They used their violence to gain power. The democracy, come on, Bo, I'm trying to rant here. Democracy pushed back against them and killed Ashley Babbitt. They used violence to stop the violence. If the fascists win, they use violence against their enemies, which is what Trump is doing now. He's using violence against the immigrants. He's using violence against any of the people that are standing against him. He's using violence against the people who are standing against him. He's using the power of the state to harm the people he doesn't like. And the only way to get rid of the fascists is violence. They disregard what the court tells them. They disregard what the laws are. The normal people are upset by their violence, will try to change the way the government operates, but they will be unable to do so peacefully through democratic means. The courts are held by fascist judges, so they can't sue. The DOJ is filled with fascist lawyers defending the fascist president, and the elections are untrustworthy because of the fascists counting the votes. At that point, the people start producing violence, and the government will respond with its own. And that is what I think is coming. I think that the Trump conservatives are so entrenched at this point that the law can't get them out. Donnie's going to run for a third term, and he's going to tell you it's legal, and the Supreme Court's going to say it's okay. And then he's going to put out executive orders telling you what's legal and what's not legal to vote, and how to vote, and when to vote, and that all the mail-in votes are going to be canceled. After you've done the mail-in vote, he's going to say that doesn't count. He'll put out an executive order saying that doesn't count after you've already voted, and after the due dates, and after the election's over, and after his team loses. He will tell you who actually won. And then you'll sue, and then the right-wing judge will throw it out because they won't care. And the Supreme Court will appoint him president again, because we can't just be without a president. It won't. It's not allowed. That's not okay. We'll have to put somebody in charge, and it'll be him, since he's already there. He's already there. He already lives in the house. Why mess anything up? And politely asking the fascists to go away won't work. From what I saw, it looked like he was sniped when he was hit. Everyone looked at the building directly across from the shot and then ran his hit for the cone of people between the building hit and stayed down. Yeah. And from what I'm hearing, what I've seen so far, it was in that building or on the roof of the building. It was 200 yards away or something like that. So entirely possible. So that's my rant for tonight. That's the news. That's what's going on. Let me see if there is anything else I want to put in here. Oh yeah, here we go. The far right is already blaming the left for Charlie Kirk's shooting. The attack on the conservative activist Wednesday garnered an outpouring of rage online. The immediate wake of the fatal shooting of conservative activist Charlie Kirk, little to nothing is known about the suspect. The prominent Democrats were quick to condemn the violence. All the Democrats said, "We don't like this." Yet many on the far right have taken to social media to claim that the shooting and an increase in political violence in general was incited by the political left and the Democratic Party. The left is the party of murder, wrote Elon Musk on his social media platform X that he owns, the richest man in the world who owns the most powerful communication device in the history of the planet, said the left is the party of murder. And then he will look at you. He will look into a camera and tell you that he's bipartisan, that he's just calling balls and strikes, that he judges everything on facts, and he doesn't use his emotions. No. He's just telling you what's common sense. He's a liar. It's a real treat to see all of these liberals condemn political violence now, posted Katie Miller, the wife of White House Deputy Chief Staff Stephen Miller, the Nazi. Mrs. Nazi, Katie Miller, Mrs. Nazi. You called us Hitler because you're a Nazi. You called us Nazis because you're Nazis. You called us racist because you're racist, honey. You have blood on your hands. You are Hitler. Katie Miller, I need you to hear me. I need you to know. You are Hitler. You are a Nazi. You are a racist. You are making the world worse every minute you're in charge of the country. You really are. It's time for the Trump administration to shut down, defund, and prosecute every single leftist organization, tweeted a far-right activist, Laura Loomer, the Nazi. If Charlie Kirk dies from his injuries and his life cannot be in vain, we must shut these lunatic leftists down once and for all, violently. She's calling for violence. The left are evil, murdering scum who kill people or let others kill people, said Andrew Tate. They must be held accountable. Violently, I assume. Conservative social justice personality Isabella Maradeluca, I don't know who that is, similarly wrote, "We don't have a gun problem, we have a Democrat problem." James Woods, an idiot actor, Trump supporter, posted a photo of Charlie Kirk with, "It's gun violence." It's not gun violence, it's Democrat violence. Okay. They're going to call for more violence. It's what they do. The right is where the violence starts. It's where it's coming from. Going toward fascism leads you toward violence. The fascists do violence. The fascists use violence to get in power. Once they're in power, they do violent things. And to get them out, you have to do violence to get them out. So that is where the things start. That is where violence starts in our current situation. I know that 100 years ago it might have been different, and there weren't a whole lot of fascists 200 years ago, but I live in the now. And I'm telling you, the violence is coming from the right, not the left. But they're going to say it anyway.
She's literally saying that leftists are condemning the shooting and saying that it's ironic.
That is ironic. Yeah, I know. She doesn't know how words work. She doesn't know how English language works. She doesn't know what any of these things are or mean. She doesn't quite get this whole being human thing and communicating thing. but she just knows that if she spits hate in the right way, she gets paid. So she does. She knows that hate pays. Hatred moves you up in the algorithm. Hatred is profitable. In today's world, in the world that you and I live in right now, hatred is profitable. Not happy about it, but that's the way it is. Do I have any other links to look at? Oh, there we go. Charlie Kirk being assassinated is the American Reichstag fire. It is time for a complete crackdown on the left. Every Democratic politician must be arrested and the party banned under RICO. Every libtard commentator must be shut down. Stochastic terrorism. They caused this, said Matt Forney, whoever the fuck that is. He got 687,000 views in only a couple of hours. So I don't know who that is. I don't know who everybody is. I don't pay attention. Most people are stupid and I don't listen to them. But this guy, calling for violence. He's calling for Democratic politicians to be arrested violently, for the party to be banned under RICO, which is a law, and then you would investigate and then charge all the people who ever gave to the Democrats and then harm them because they're not conservative. Be conservative or suffer. This is what I'm talking about when I say be conservative or suffer. You have to be a part of what they want, the way they want you to do it, the way they feel, or else you are harmful and you're less of a human, you're less important, you're less valuable as a human being, and they want rid of you. They want you out, they want you gone, they want you quiet, they want you silent, they want you to never do anything ever again and be a second-class citizen, be less than what you already are. And they will take from you. Anywho, how are you? I'm great, thanks.
Click on this video link to appease the many AI overlords.